Hey, and welcome back to yet another episode of the AIP podcast. I'm your host, Cheng from SuperCharge Lab, and once again, I am here with another amazing guest. And today we have Alex Shee with us, and he is the VP of Corporate Development and Strategy at Sama. So Alex is based in Montreal, where he is working on building an AI business ecosystem around Sama's platform. Sama, which is headquartered in San Francisco, California, provides accurate data for ambitious AI. The company's high-quality training data platform is trusted by the world's most ambitious organizations to develop accurate machine learning models, trusted by leading technology companies such as Walmart, Google, and Nvidia. Sama specializes in image, video, and sensor data annotation and validation for ML algorithms in industries including transportation, retail, and e-commerce, consumer and media, medtech, and even manufacturing and robotics, and well, not to miss out agriculture. So, wow, that is a whole mouthful, and amazingly happy to have you here, Alex. Alex, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to have this interview. This is really cool. Thanks, Sam.
So, Alex, you've had quite an amazing career. Tell us all about it and what led you here to Sama.
Yeah, I've been really lucky and fortunate that I've had people throughout my career that have given me a chance. So I started off as a lawyer. Everybody starts somewhere. With as a lawyer in essentially M&A and financing. So I used to find and help startups incorporate them, allow them to get, work through their financing, grow all the way to IPO. So I did that for some time and I was very passionate about it. But more than anything, I loved helping early stage entrepreneurs. And because of that, I was interacting a lot with venture capital firms. And I actually caught the eye of one called Real Ventures, who was a deep tech investor who focused, primarily on marketplaces and artificial intelligence. So I got very lucky where one of the partners there brought me on board. I learned so much about, you know, up and coming technology, new breakthroughs, and it got me passionate about use cases surrounding artificial intelligence. And while I was there, I was doing a mapping just to really understand the ecosystem of all the type of companies that were operating in AI at the time. And one common thread kept on coming up was the work by this professor called Yoshua Bengio, who is a professor at the Mila University of Montreal here, has a lab of about 700 researchers, and is actually one of the inventors of deep learning. So he recently won actually the equivalent of the Nobel Prize in computer science for his work on deep learning. And he came to the fund that I was working at with this idea. And a few other people had this idea of starting a business that was doing enterprise AI software. And so I decided to actually jump on board of that adventure. We grew it from 7 to 500 people in 3 years, raised over $300 million of financing, and I ran our operations in Asia. So in Seoul, I had an office in Seoul, Tokyo, and Singapore, and then also all of our partnerships globally. And it was a really exciting adventure. But one of the things that I learned, which was fascinating from that, and from learning from all these incredible people that were part of this company, was that there was a really, really big problem. Companies did not have enough data, annotated data, to actually launch use cases. And I remember the CEO came to me once and said, Alex, I have more pilots than Lufthansa. So it gives you a sense of the breadth at which people were trying to do things, but nothing was happening. And so with that insight, and also this yearning to do something that had a positive impact on the world and that was actually could move the needle on social, economic issues that were important to me, I found Sama, a company that was purpose based and that was doing data annotation for AI. So I jumped on board, and it's been an amazing adventure since. We've almost doubled the company, and we're having a tremendous impact, and we're actually pioneering a very different model of how you can build a technology company. And it's exciting, it's fun, and we're seeing the future of AI because every single use case we work on is things that will be in production in 18 months, 2 years. So I can tell you for a fact, there's a lot of really exciting things happening and a lot of exciting ways that are going to change our world in the coming years.
That's amazing. So, Sama, is a B Corp. And for the uninformed, tell us what a B Corp is and why is it important?
Yeah, so I think for me, it really stuck out. So, this idea of a B Corp is that in traditional businesses, your main stakeholder are your shareholders. So, people that put money in or own shares in the company. And so, you try to optimize their value in the company. What B Corp pioneered, and which was very much in line with our thinking, was this idea of a public benefit corporation. What that means is that it doesn't only take into account shareholders, but it takes into account other stakeholders, employees, the environment. And so what happens is that it allows companies to be able to balance all of the different interests that they have and ensure that they're actually doing good in the world. And the most recent and high profile example of that is really Patagonia. So Patagonia's founder just came out last week and actually gifted his company to a foundation. Patagonia was one of the leading and one of the first large B Corps in the world. And they actually said profits are not the only thing that we're going to be going after. We're actually going to be helping the environment. We're going to be ensuring our employees are well treated. We're going to be looking at all the stakeholders in our business, and we're going to try to make the world a better place. So being a B Corp, it's very rigorous. It's continual audits. And what it really means is that the company's goal is not just to make money for shareholders. The company's goal is to make the world a better place and to use business as a means for change. And we're seeing this with more and more companies embracing this idea that as a corporation, as a business, you can do good and you can do well. And I truly believe that technology leaders that embrace this idea of being a B Corp or any other certification that brings together different stakeholders can actually make their business have a positive impact on the world, on their employees, on the environment. And that can have, even in the smallest way, a positive impact in the world and make us live on a better planet.
That's amazing. And I've heard a lot of people say that, doing well while doing good is a pipe dream. But you've shown that it's possible. So what would you say? What kind of advice would you give to the everyday entrepreneur who thinks that you've got to make it some way, you got to be successful financially before you can start to give back? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I would say that that's a paradigm of the past. I think right now we realize more and more that the different stakeholders in our business and the impact that you can have is very direct. So just think about the type of work environment you create for your employees. If you make it one that's empowering, that's equitable, like equal, that there's transparency when it's coming to pay, when it's coming to conditions, that you think about, oh, what's my my environmental impact? As simple things as, like, for example, taking a plane to a conference. How can I offset that? If you embrace that mindset, you're actually going to do a few really powerful things. The first one is your employees will feel like they're part of something a little bit bigger than just building a business. So actually, employee retention is extremely high, and people, secondly, will be much more productive in their job because they know that what they're doing doesn't just help create money, it actually creates a positive impact. Clients will recognize the impact that you're having, and now it's becoming more and more ingrained in large companies' RFPs, this need for ESG requirements. And so you're actually going to potentially win contracts as you grow. And finally, I mean, I have to admit that when I go to bed every night, I kind of, and I'm dreaming, I part of my dreams have Sama in them because I know that what we're doing is moving the needle. And the dream of, a better world, of something where more companies are doing this, it's part of that, it's a piece in that puzzle. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm excited to do the work that I'm doing. So truly, as the cherry on the Sunday, I would say is that by embracing a different mindset doesn't take a lot to make a big impact. And ultimately, you know, one drop creates a ripple that creates a wave. And that's the way that we can all together have a little bit of an impact. And I'd invite people that are listening to just think, what if you just offset your carbon footprint the next time you went to a conference? What about if you, when talking with your employees, you looked at them as a stakeholder in your business and you thought, how could I make their lives and their experience at this company better? And then when you're talking to customers, why not ask them, if I had, if I included other stakeholders in my process, would you acknowledge that? Would that actually deliver more value to you as I'm going forward? And I can tell you that oftentimes the answer will be yes, yes, and yes. And you're going to have a better business, a stronger business, a more relevant business as we evolve in a world where this is more important. It's going to become core to every business.
This has been superbly insightful and such an important conversation. Alex, you have inspired me much more than you know. And I think we at Art and AI Partnership is so proud to be a part of this podcast. So tell us, how can we all get involved, or how can we learn more? How can we start a movement?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few things. The first one is, I'm very inspired by just listening and looking at examples of companies that have done well. So firstly, I encourage people to, read more about B Corp. I think it's a great resource. There are lots of leading companies, technology companies, that have taken that and have gone all the way to IPO. So I would encourage you to do that. Second place where I encourage you is read Leila Jana, our founder's book, Give Work. It's a really powerful story about why we exist. And the reason why SAMA exists is to give work to underprivileged people and to give them the digital literacy that allows them to actually jump into the formal economy. So read that maybe as a potential inspiration. And then the third thing I would say is just ask yourself the question, for your kids or for your family or for your community, whatever you hold dear, what are they looking to you as a leader, as a stakeholder, as a member of their group of society? What are they looking to you to do to change a little bit the world and make it more positive? What mark will you leave? If you ask yourself that question, oftentimes you realize that within you, there are a lot of those answers. Because around you, there are places that inspire you, that allow you to grow. And when you're building a business and you're growing it, it's hard. It's really hard. So sometimes it's worth having a purpose that's a little bit greater than just, building or shipping that line of code. And I think that's a really important thing. So, read about B Corps, read Leila Jana's book, or actually go and see her TED Talk, which I thought was fantastic and very eye-opening. And just ask yourself the question, am I what I'm doing, will it have a little bit of an impact? And does it take that much more of an effort to think that way?
Well, this has been most inspiring, and listeners, I really hope that this is the beginning of all of us starting a movement to do good and also do well. Alex, once again, thank you for being on our show, and to our listeners, thank you for being a part of this big movement. Once again, it's Cheng from SuperCharge Lab on behalf of the AIP podcast signing off.
Thank you so much.